You ain't got the answer, Sway.
Hey guys, Raven Boss here from Collateral Dreams, and this is my review on Rogue Company. If you don't know, I released a video about Rogue Company where I ranted for about 7 minutes. I went full potato, raged about my frustration on this game. Where that video was meant to be more entertainment, this one will try to be a fair review, from an average player's perspective. If you haven't seen that rant video I'm referencing, I will link it and you can check it out. With all that said, let's get right into it. Okay, so what's good about Rogue Company? Well, for starters, and it's probably the best thing going for it, it's free to play. So no need for having to beg to mommy and daddy for $60. No need to spend money, you can just download, jump right in. Of course, there are the options to pay for the starter packs, but that's not required. You really don't need me to tell you how great free is, but it was just nice to be able to download the game, play with friends right away, because no one needed to budget their bank accounts to make sure that they could afford it. When you boot up the game, you may be surprised at the quality the game offers for being free to play. The visuals, the gameplay, the movement, all look good and all feel good. The visuals seem like the kind of quality you'd get in a AAA game. The gameplay can be fun and addicting, especially when you're playing with a coordinated team. Shooting and aiming your weapon feels responsive and fair. Lastly, the movement doesn't feel clunky or frustrating. If you're familiar with third-person shooters, you will find it all comfortable almost immediately. Something we've all gotten comfortable with recently are hero-based shooters. If you don't know, this game has heroes all with different weapons, perks, playstyles, and abilities. If you played anything like the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 or 4 or Overwatch, you'll understand this hero system. You will notice certain heroes in this game have perks, playstyles, or weapons that do overlap with each other, but they don't feel watered down and the characters all do feel unique. If you play the free-to-play version of this game, you will have access to, I think, 6 characters from the start. These characters are easy to play, easy to understand, and they don't feel underpowered compared to the unlockable characters you will get later on. As I was saying before, the free-to-play version doesn't have all the characters unlocked right off the start, but what's nice is you don't have to pay real cash to unlock them. Of course, it makes it much faster if you do, costing you about $7 a character, but the cheapest purchase for in-game currency is $10. When you play Rogue Company, after every match and every level up, you will receive what the game calls reputation. And you can use this reputation to purchase newer rogue. They are a bit expensive, costing about $15,000 in rep, and you usually get maybe 200 each match depending on how well you did, so it may take a little while to unlock all the rogues using the reps, but for me, I love the grind. I love saving up my rep to unlock a new character and then getting to play with that new character for the first time. I actually enjoy that, and I know that probably most people won't. With not all the characters being unlocked, you may wonder if locked rogues will have an advantage over the starters, and thankfully I can tell you they do not. It seems hi-rez did a wonderful job at balancing out each rogue. Do I think certain rogues are better than others? Absolutely. But you won't be at a disadvantage if you play with the starters. And in fact, some could go as far to say that the starters are probably the best rogues in the game, which help Rogue Company's cause when you're fresh off the boat playing your first game. Rogue Company is easy to understand, especially if you played the tutorial, Kayla. So those who aren't familiar with multiplayer shooters won't feel overwhelmed, but for those who want to put in the time to get good won't be disappointed. There's definitely a skill gap between those who are new to the game and those who have been playing the game since release. Alright, the bad. I'll do this without going too deep into topics from my rage video, but when you lose a teammate in a game, either them going AFK or leaving the match entirely, it becomes practically impossible to win, making the matches frustrating, and sometimes that can sour your mood for the game, which fucking sucks because it isn't the game's fault, but the fault of my salty teammates. I do think they should have a system that boots idle players and fills the empty slot for matchmaking, because being down a player is not fun. There isn't a way to properly leave the game, so if you have a team that's either trolling or refusing to play, you will be stuck in the game until the very end. Speaking of which, once it's over, it's over. You don't stay in the lobby for a rematch. You're brought back to the home screen, and you are forced to search up another one. I'd love the ability or the chance to replay the enemy team, especially if I've been screwed out of a fair match. Like back in the day of Titanfall 2 multiplayer, I had fond memories of playing when there was a terrific player on the other team, I'd stay in the lobby for hours playing matches against them. Even if we never spoke to each other, it was like this unspoken rivalry, and it felt good when I won matches or even outsmarted that player. I'm finding more and more games, they reset the lobbies after matches, and I don't really like this trend. Alright, so back on topic. At this time in Rogue Company, there are like only 3 game modes: Strikeout, Extraction, and Demolition. Both Extraction and Demolition are almost identical. From memory of recording this, I couldn't really tell you the difference between the two. In Extraction and Demolition, they both have 1 life per player, and you have to defend the bomb or something like that. Most of the time the rounds end with either team killing each other. In the other game mode, Strikeout, you have a selected number of tickets for respawn. Think like Conquest from the game Battlefield. Your goal is to exhaust your opponent's tickets to win the round. It's a little bit different on the whole team deathmatch take. Something that you don't see too often. There is a hardpoint, like a hardpoint type location in Strikeout that keeps the battle located in like a general area. Whatever team takes the hardpoint, they'll drain their opponent's tickets slowly. This game is in beta at the time of this video, so it makes sense it wouldn't have too many game modes, but when you're only really playing 2 game modes, it does kind of drag down the value of Rogue Company. Maps, okay, so maps are okay. I couldn't really tell you what map is my favorite. They don't really make an impression on you. They seem very generic and uninspired. Well, maybe except for the arena map. That one does stand out, but that was also created by Dr. Disrespect. That map's colors are bright, and the song that plays as you fly in is a fucking bang. But once you land from flying in, the song ends. That's something I wish they would change in the whole game. Like, give me some music I can listen to as I play. There are some pretty good tracks in this game, but you never get to hear them as you're playing, and I get that. It takes away from when you're focusing in-game, especially if you're needing to hear the enemy footsteps, but I'm here for a good time, so crank up that music and let me cap my enemies to it. But if other players don't like this because it makes enemy footsteps hard to hear, they do have the option to turn down music in settings. But speaking of enemy footsteps, they are hard to hear. Like, you hear them, but the sound is so broad that you can never really tell where they're coming from. Most of the time, I'm just guessing. I just stand near a wall waiting because I'm not confident enough to be sure where the enemy is coming from. And many times I've died from thinking they were coming from a certain direction just to be killed by that enemy who was flanking from the opposite side. I'm no game developer, but maybe a little bit easier to know where they're coming from might help. Also, if you're not crouch walking, if you're doing anything but that, the enemy will hear your footsteps. I think it should be almost impossible to hear them if you're simply walking. But again, I'm no game developer. Lastly, these things aren't really a big issue, mainly just things you could probably fix with updates later on. But grenades. I don't believe there's a way to switch between the grenade types, especially on console anyways. When you buy 2 different grenades from the store, you aren't really able to switch between the 2. Sometimes I'll be in a situation where I need the other grenade type instead, but I have to use the one that I've got selected first before having the option to use the other. So if they update the game so I can toggle between the nades, that would be dandy. The other small issue I have is when you're crouched behind a wall and an enemy flanks behind you, when you go to aim at that enemy to tighten your hip fire, you will automatically stand up. You have no control over this. This means if you have enemies on the other side of that wall that you are crouching behind and someone flanks you, you cannot aim without standing up, making you a target on both sides. There is a way around this, that is if you hip fire without aiming, but your shots are less accurate due to that, and I think the game would be better off if they tweaked this. To summarize everything, the quality of the game is well worth the asking price of $0. The gameplay and gunplay are addicting enough to keep you coming back for more, but there will be only 3 game modes, and 2 of them are, as I said, very similar. It may cause you to get bored quickly with the game. Each rogue in the game feels unique, balanced, You will not be at a disadvantage when you first start off, but it does take a bit to unlock the other rows without spending real money. With the easy to pick up, hard to master game style, this benefits Rogue Company with the possibility of a healthy player base, but with more new gamers willing to test out the game, because it being free to play and all, and easy to pick up, you are more likely to run into players who go AFK, or leave the game, troll, or don't even play the objective. So expect to have a few frustrating games. So on a scale from don't play it, it's bad, it's a game, it's good, or must play, I give it a 6. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of Rogue Company in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you think it's trash? Also, subscribe to the channel to become a part of the Dream Team, and for more videos like this one. This has been an average game review by an average player. Thanks for watching. Peace out, dreamers.